FakeMeats.com just sent me their new product and wanted me to try it and make a recipe with it. So it's hearty plant protein small batch. It says that it's unflavored bits and bites pea protein. So that's nice. I like pea protein. It's easier to digest and it usually has a better texture. Ooh, okay, look at that. This texture looks cool. Ooh, this is super light too. I'm really curious about this. Wow, these are really light. They feel like a puff of some sort. That's gonna be cool to work with, I bet. Now, I always like different variations in texture, and this is kind of like that. I think this is gonna be really cool. So it's my lunchtime right now. So I'm gonna test these out. I just wanna see how they cook up, how they react before I decide exactly what I'm gonna make with these. Oh man, they're so light. They just kind of pop. It's like a cereal almost. This is gonna be a neat test. So I think the best way to test these is to make some tacos. Gosh, I can't believe it's usually textured protein is really hard. You can't do anything with it until it's hydrated up. So I'm curious how these come out. This is gonna be neat. It's gonna be really neat. So yeah, let's make some tacos. Let's throw them in a skillet and get them hydrated up.
So I'm going to do just a cup of the textured protein along with a cup of water and about a teaspoon of the ham seasoning from FakeMeats.com as well. That stuff's really good. I just want to use it for this test just to make something quick and easy. Now I'm just going to add a tiny bit of olive oil, stir this up, and then just let this water kind of simmer down. Now I added just a little touch of molasses. I thought I had that on video, but I guess I didn't.
So that only took about 3 minutes and I've been kind of snacking on them a little bit. And they are really, really pretty awesome already. I haven't really done a lot to them. They've soaked up a ton of juice, so I'm gonna try to squeeze some of that out. I think that's gonna create a firmer texture. I've done a lot of similar things with just regular textured protein, but just right off the bat looking at these, I know I added that molasses, but these look really good, really good. And they seem to pool and strip very similar to how meat would. So real great texture. So I think I'm just gonna toss these back in the skillet with a little bit of olive oil. I'm gonna give them some taco seasonings, and yeah, let's just try them out as tacos.
So I just added them in with some onions and garlic, a little salt, black pepper, Mexican oregano, some out-of-focus cumin, and then I added a little touch of adobo sauce from an open can of chipotle peppers that I had. I gave that a little stir and then just added in some of that pressed liquid just to kind of juice it back up again.
I don't know if you can tell by how often I make them, but I really love tacos. But this looks pretty epic, I'll be honest. These came out really good. Now, I wasn't recreating any one particular type of taco recipe here. This was just kind of making it up on the fly, just some flavors that I like, just some things that I had in the fridge, like this from last week's video. That meat looks awesome. I am stoked about it, just stoked about it. We'll see how these are. Cheers. Oh, man, okay. That texture is something else. That's a great texture. My God. I mean, I feel like you could put this in a lot of different things, but barbecue is where this is gonna shine. My gosh, this is fantastic. It's slow cooked meat texture, but I mean, that took 15 minutes. Really try to dive into the meat of it. Okay. I know there's a lot going on here, but just, see what you think about this meat.
Okay. That's really, really good. Fatty?
Yeah, it's real soft, right?
Yeah, but not soft mushy.
No, soft
Tender.
Tender.
Like Monica said, these came out pretty fatty. They actually have a really nice kind of, almost like barbecue meat kind of consistency. So we're going to be making a barbecue plate. But before that, let me tell you about today's sponsor, FakeMeats.com.
FakeMeats.com is the place to go for all of your fake meats needs, including their new Plant Basics line of foods, which I love. I mean, I use them all the time. Plant Basics pea protein crumbles were a first of their kind. Now, these crumbles are really great, but pea protein is difficult to form, shape, and texturize into larger pieces. Based on customer feedback, the Fake Meats team is developing a new, larger Plant Basics textured pea protein strip, chunk, curl, and shred, while still only using one ingredient: pea protein. Now they're working through the process and getting larger pieces and better texture with every batch. This one in particular is their 4th recipe, and it's the first one that they're releasing to the public. Only 500 bags of each small batch recipe will be sold. So gang, the first small batch, what I'm using in this video, is available today only at FakeMeats.com. And they're running a sale exclusively for Sauce Stache viewers. Get $3 off each bag of Plant Basics small batch product through the end of July. Use coupon code SAUCE237. That's only at FakeMeats.com. Fake Meats, I'm excited to see where you go with this. This is really good so far. Okay, so it's the next day. Monica and I ended up going to dinner last night with some friends, so I decided I was gonna make this tonight. We're making a barbecue plate. And I think to do that, it's going to involve some sides, but I wanted to hydrate these up first. I was really thinking about it last night. And I know the first time I hydrated them up, I just kind of hydrated them with some like water and I made like a broth, threw them in a pan. This time we're going to hydrate them like a cold hydration, and then we're going to cook them after. I think that's going to allow us to get some different flavors in there, and we'll just see how the difference between the two.
So we're going to start with 2 cups of the pea protein, along with some smoked paprika, a little beetroot powder. I'm going to use about a cup of vegetable broth and some maple syrup.
Now, yeast extract is one of my favorite ingredients. I commonly use like Marmite or Vegemite. That's like a very thick yeast extract. You can actually buy powdered yeast extract. There's not a whole lot of flavor to it. It's just really savory.
So I'm going to use about a teaspoon of that, along with a cup of water, teaspoon of olive oil, and then just mix this up.
I just want to keep these pressed down, so I'm just going to toss just a can or something in there. I'm just covering it up with a bag just to keep most of them pressed down. I'm going to allow these to hydrate up while I'm making the rest of the sides, which for a barbecue plate, let's start with some baked beans.
Okay, so we're going to start with 2 cans of Great Northern beans. Now, traditionally, these aren't the correct beans, but this is just what I could find at the grocery store, and I thought they might work. So I'm just going to drain and rinse those and toss those into a loaf pan. And we're going to be using whatever your favorite not steak sauce is. Just a joke. That's my sauce. And why would I use anything else when I have something that's that good? So we're going to chop and add a quarter of a medium onion, tablespoon of maple syrup, quarter cup of vegetable broth, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Now, you don't have to add this part, but I thought it would be fun because the bacon bits that you can find in the grocery store are essentially just bacon flavored textured protein. So we're going to toss those in. They're going to hydrate up and make a nice kind of like pork and beans kind of texture and taste. So I'm just going to mix that up. I have the oven preheated for 350 degrees. I'm going to toss these in uncovered and we're going to bake them for about an hour. So we're going to be making a baked mac and cheese for this barbecue plate. So we're just going to start with 2 cups of macaroni noodles. We're going to boil those for about 5 minutes and now let's make our cheese sauce. First, we're going to start with a roux, which is just going to be almost an equal part of vegan butter and flour. I'm using about 3 tablespoons each. I'm just going to whisk that up while it thickens up, and then I'm going to add some nutritional yeast and smoked paprika. Now we just need to whisk that in, and then I'm going to add 1 cup of oat milk. Now to get that extra cheesy taste, lactic acid really helps with the sharpness. It adds that realism to it. Lactic acid has nothing to do with lactose. Before you say anything, it's made from fermenting beets, actually. So just whisk that in. This is starting to thicken up really nice, and I'm going to add about a cup of the Dia cutting board cheddar shreds. Now, once you whisk this in, you can see this comes out extra creamy. Now, the macaroni noodles are done at this point. I'm just going to mix these together into another loaf pan. Now, I did add a little bit of salt and pepper to this, but that's all the seasoning beyond that smoked paprika that this really needs.
I don't care who you are, what you eat, but that is some creamy macaroni and cheese no matter what. Now, I know there's going to be a bunch of people on Facebook like, that's not mac and cheese. If there's no cheese in it, it's mac and slop. But this is good mac and cheese. Okay, so we got to finish it off with a topping. So I'm just going to take maybe like a half of a tablespoon of vegan butter, toss it into the microwave. Just gonna add some garlic powder, smoked paprika, some salt, black pepper, some panko breadcrumbs, a good amount of them. And just kind of stir this up to make some seasoned breadcrumbs. So we're just gonna coat these, and we'll toss that in the oven for 30 minutes.
Okay, so now let's work on our meat. I'm just going to remove the little weight there. I'm going to strain these, drain them, and then press out a lot of that liquid. I want them to be fairly dry, but not super dry. You definitely want them to have some texture to them. And these look pretty good. So now we're just going to coat them with some flavoring. I'm going to use a little bit of melted vegan butter, liquid smoke, maple syrup, and some not steak sauce. If for some reason you don't have this yet, you can also use a little bit of barbecue, ketchup, steak sauce, whatever your favorite sauce would be if you haven't tried not steak sauce yet, because once you do, it will be your favorite sauce. Okay, so mix that up, and this looks pretty awesome. I'm really excited about how this is going to come out. I'm going to toss these into an air fryer, and I'm going to cook them for about 450 degrees for 10 minutes. So now at this point, the macaroni and cheese is done, and it looks really awesome. The beans are done, and they look really awesome. I'm excited about this. Our meat is done. It's nice and crispy on some of them, and they're still nice and cooked and soft on the other one. So I'm going to pour this onto a small parchment lined baking sheet, and I wanted to give these an extra smoky flavor. Originally, I was going to smoke these on the grill, but it was kind of a crappy day outside, so I decided to use my little Breville hand smoker. This thing is awesome. I'll leave a link in my shopping store down below. So I just threw in some applewood chips, lit it up, and allowed it to smoke. It only takes about 10 minutes or so for this to really impart a lot of flavor. So now I'm just going to plate up the rest of the items. I added some pickles and bread because I figured, you know, what goes good with barbecue. This all looks awesome. Let's give it the reveal. Monica is here. Let's see what she has to say.
Dive into the mac and cheese. I think that's maybe your favorite. So it's baked mac and cheese. I know you do normally like creamy mac and cheese, but let's see what you think.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
I love this, actually.
Really good, right?
Yeah. I prefer this.
Really?
Yeah, this is really good.
I thought you always liked the creamy mac and cheese.
I mean, I like this.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Baked beans? Are you a baked bean fan, baby?
I do like baked beans. I don't love them. I like them.
Okay. Do you taste anything specific on them? See if you can get the hints of what's in there.
I guess it tastes like there's little chunks of bacon. Baked, like.
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
That's really good.
It is, right? Okay, so now let's get into the meat.
Okay. That's great. Smoky.
Yep.
I love that. I'm trying to you did with the little smoker.
Yeah.
It has a nice crisp on the outside. You bite into the soft and tender bite, and also a little juicy, and the flavor is just delicious. I like that it has like a crunchy crisp on the outside.
Yeah, there's like a nice skin to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy
It's
about
got a good
this.
snap, and then you have just like this great like tender bite after you get through the little skin of the crisp.
It tastes like a barbecue. I don't know if it's like a pulled barbecue or like just barbecue chunks, like a burnt end type of deal almost.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, you can make some macaroni and get some meat together with it. And take a bite.
I'm pretty happy about it.
Like all so good together. I love this whole thing.
Well, there we go. Well, this is dinner tonight.
This is it. This is perfect.
This is
I
like
can't wait.
a
Taking
big
it now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.